everybody. The Burning Man is everybody.
In 1985, Larry Harvey and a small group of his friends decided to burn a man, 8 feet tall, made of wood, on San Francisco's Baker Beach. As Harvey recalls it, at that first event, everyone on the beach came running at the moment the man flamed up. People began to perform, playing guitar, singing and dancing spontaneously. What we had instantly created, said Harvey, was a community. After holding the event on Baker Beach annually for several years, attracting more people and more attention each time, the event eventually grew so large that it was officially banned from the site. In 1990, Harvey and friends moved the event to the Black Rock Desert, 120 miles north of Reno, Nevada. What began in 1990 with 60 or 80 people had grown by the year 2000 to an event that attracted 26,000 people. With all commerce and marketing banned from the event, corporate sponsorship shunned, an artistic ethos and an all participants, no spectators rule in effect, Burning Man can enrich our understanding of several topics relevant to contemporary consumer research, such as community and consumption, gift giving, art consumption, decommodification, and consumer and media resistance. Studying consumption within Burning Man's no vending zone can help us extend our understanding of the communal aspects of gift-giving theory developed by Sherry, Belk, Arnold, Oatness, Fisher, and others. The narratives of many of the consumers you'll see at Burning Man relate gift-giving and sacrifice to an enhanced sense of communitas and of creative expression, as well as to an ideological bracketing from the marketplace and the negative, passive, and pacifying aspects that these consumers find in contemporary commercial society.
The idea of bartering brings people closer together. It's very easy to not be personally involved when you're trading money for something.
Right.
You know, when I'm in the checkout line at a grocery store, I don't feel like there's any personal involvement with all the people around me or the person I'm giving the money to or whatever. I try to get involved, but it doesn't have to be that way. Lots of people don't even make eye contact with the cashiers. They just go through the line, and there's no involvement. When you're bartering with someone, you have to be involved, and it promotes openness among people. If you came to the playa without something that you desperately need, you got to go talk to someone. You got to make a friend, and you got to trade for it. You got to trade something that's precious to you for something that's precious to you. You know? And it makes everything more precious. I guess, which is, again, it's all in line with the whole idea of burning with the passion of things, making things more precious. When people vend things, they're not personally attached to the things that they're selling. And they're not really personally attached to the money that they're getting for it either. It's going to go towards purchasing things that might be precious to them, but it's distance. It's this intellectual space that creates distance between humans.
Like I've had a lot of people this year say, "Oh, aren't you worried because of what happened at Woodstock? All these people went crazy, and Woodstock was just such a completely different thing where, you go and you pay $4 for a bottle of water, and then you expect other people to clean up after you and give you entertainment value for your money, and feel like you have to get it's all about you getting something back out of it. Whereas over here, it's, people just trading things and a lot of just giving things away. Yep. And I like that a lot better. And people don't want to go attend things that are too commercial. It's nice that something can be this large and be non-commercial.
I think it's great just to give and, be free and just, give and trade if you want to trade. And I think it's better than having to sell things and go into money.
Also, I like the idea of burning money. We actually have 2 real bills, but they're not $10,000.
Can you tell me a little bit about that idea?
The idea of burning money?
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 things about it. One thing is, money is the shackle on the ball we all carry, the survival ball, as far as like the new culture, society is the ball and money is the chain. And when you have that to contend with, it's freeing to be able to burn it.
I mean, you're covering over the sign. Is that because it's a rule or because you really believe in it?
I really believe in it. You can see all this shit all the time anyway. You can see it on TV, you can see it in the telephone book. Why don't you come out here and look at something that you haven't seen before? There's so much creative energy here that you don't need the stuff, these symbols that are printed on your brain on a day-to-day basis by marketing people who come out of schools such as the one that you go to.
You bet.
Okay? You can create a whole fucking world like this if people were open. But they're not. They like to sit and watch their TV in their little box and be spoon-fed everything and go to their little job. And then they wonder why they're miserable and why they're cynical. But if they came out here, they would be a lot better off. And if they left all the corporate shit alone, they'd be even much better off.
What happens when something becomes commercial like this?
It loses its creative edge. The commercial world, like with entertainment and creative stuff, is fine. I'm not like opposed to it or anything, but it needs to be fueled by a more underground area of creativity. The most interesting commercial stuff I think you're seeing right now is all based on the best of underground culture from a few years ago.
In these comments, money and commercial society are seen as distasteful and enslaving, related to passivity and selfishness. Instead, the sacrificial and communal qualities of barter and gift-giving are emphasized as promoting openness, closeness, and freedom. As rituals, gift-giving and barter bracket consumption from the market, decommodifying it. The sacrosanct air of sacrifice fuels an authentic artistic creativity, which is also ideologically opposed to the marketplace. Burning Man's organizers term it an art festival and claim that it is art that creates its temporary community. Connecting consumption to the world of art decommodifies and sacralizes it. Art is used ideologically to celebrate creativity for the sake of creativity, and not for the marketplace motive of profitable production. Art is ubiquitous at Burning Man. From massive installation pieces to fluorescent robots to billboards that invite audience participation. The watchwords of Burning Man's art festival are interactivity, temporariness, and experience. Vehicles, human bodies, movement and dance, costumes, encounters, sand, fire, electricity. Everything becomes art, and performance art as the event's no spectators rule is constantly enacted.
Let's go.
Filthy, I tell you, it's filthy here. Who leaves all this dust? I clean and clean, 30,000 bags a day, and still it's dusty as hell.
Because it's temporary. The whole premise of Burning Man is that it's temporary, it's not to last. It's making art for art's sake. And this is another form of that art expression.
I think what I believe is that there are so many creative people out here, and that the concept of Burning Man for me is getting artists together to create something, enjoying it, and then letting it go. And, it's temporal, just like life.
I mean, the most obvious thing is just amazement at jaw-dropping, butt-kicked, slack-eyed amazement at the fucking creativity of so many fucking people, and unbelievable amount of love and time, effort, money, and just love that would go into somebody building a ring of speakers out on the playa, or some sculpture that's going to be seen by these 20,000 people and then burnt to a crisp, or guys setting up a forge out there in the middle, hauling 10 tons of pig iron out there so that they can go melt it into a form in the middle of the desert. I mean, that's a labor of love. It's a love of a self-love, perhaps a love of your own creativity, a love of art, a love of others.
The idea of art expressed by these participants seems distanced from the conception of art as an institutionalized matrix of galleries and museums. Instead, art is deeply personal, immediate, temporary, and experimental. But art is more than a mirror held up to our mortality, our repression, or our most profound desires. For art here seems to have deeply sacred elements that link it to perception of hidden realities.
I like the idea of it not being a thing, that it actually is what reality is.
It being the costume?
Well, yeah, the way I am is the way everything should be and is. And people that are dressed like you are the people that should feel really odd and out of place.
Okay.
To me, that's what the Burning Man means, is burning with the things that make us human, our passions, our creativity. We have been created out of a creative universe, and I think it's our blessing to be able to further that process and create out of ourselves.
When I make art, I'm the closest to the source in me. And I think a lot of people feel that way. Maybe it'd be presumptuous for me to say that. Maybe a lot of people are just saying, well, I like to burn stuff. But yeah. That's my connection there, I guess, as an artist. And so when I'm doing stuff like that, I'm the closest. And when I burn it, to me, it's not defiling the art. It's making it ascend. It's contributing back to the source.
So that's the way I see Burning Man, through the lens of Blake's perception as a city of art, and of course, therefore, as a city of spirit as well. This is a vision of eternity that we can share in and participate in for 1 week a year. But when our time on this plane is over, we will go to Burning Man infinitely in eternity, to Golgotha, and where Burning Man exists all the time.
Year round.
Year round.
Art is experimental, social, utopian. Like religion and science, it plays with and deals in reality. At Burning Man, art's temporariness, its sacrifice through fire, and its positioning outside the marketplace as a gift, provide it with a privileged space in which self-expression and self-transformation can collectively dwell. Outside the market, art can attempt to embody more authentically a communal ethic of social betterment.
It's an anthropological grist for the mill over there trying to happen for you guys.
Burning Man is a party atmosphere, but for many it seems more than just a party. The harsh desert environment and isolation seem to bring about a celebration of the primal, the mortal, the body, and emphasize people's need to work together towards a common goal. The festal environment and ubiquitous art also tap into a wellspring of repressed chaos and creativity. Gift-giving, community, liminality, art, pleasure, anti-structure, sexuality, a vast human spectrum of ideas and concepts all blend together into an intricate, paradoxical, and rather ineffable dance of expression.
Plus, you know how in earlier times, in medieval times, there was just a lot more toilet humor and fewer inhibitions and about discussions of sex and toilet habits and that kind of thing, because they didn't have the amenities that we have now, flushing toilets, shower systems, sewage systems, sanitation. And so it was just more out there in the open, so people joked and laughed and it was just acknowledged. But in our sanitized current society, we can kind of hide it away. Well, this seems to kind of throw us back to those old days, and we're all in the same boat about having to deal with the Santa cans that fill up, how to deal with those kinds of functions that we have to take care of. So I think that just knocks down a lot of barriers right there, and we're all in sympathy with each other.
The body art and everything like this, and I think it tends to be a popular thing in society right now to kind of go back to some sort of a tribal root, something that's like a smaller community, you know, and that has more meaning to it. And so I think you see people tattooing themselves and piercing themselves, and it kind of brings you back to that different, I don't know, it's like maybe trying to find some different meaning in life with such a corporate, you know, culture around us most of the time. And then this is just completely modern primitive. I can't think of any better way to describe it when people ask me what it's like.
What do you guys like best about Burning Man?
Deconstruction.
Deconstruction?
Yeah.
As with the flea market goers of Sherry, the river rafters of Arnold and Price, the rich urban bikers of Scouten and McAlexander, and the contemporary mountain men of Belk and Costa, participants at Burning Man ritually decommodify and sacralize consumption. However, they also ideologically bracket consumption from the marketplace by linking it with gift-giving, sacrifice, and art. They can therefore provide consumer research with an example of liberatory consumption, a theater of consumption that exists, to some extent, outside of the market.
You imbue the thoughts that you have, the things that you want to get rid of, the parts of yourself that you'd like to vaporize into air. Because fire is the process of taking matter and releasing it into the general air and creating heat.
Yes, definitely.
So the parts of you that you wish to do this.
Forget bartering, give.
Right.
And everybody is.
I think just being free and just anything goes kind of community thing. And art and just like having fun, like making things.
To dismiss it as fantasy would be an insult to in a way, to the creators, although it may spark that in us, that sort of, in the way that a good altered reality does, that it reminds us that there are many ways to look at something.
Do you like my time tunnel? I did it just for you.
He came here the first year, and he was kind of like a chubby guy. I mean, not that that matters or anything. He definitely like went through, got back, and he like lost a ton of weight, started walking around naked all the time. He dyed his hair, and he's very aware of like being really sexy now. It's really interesting.
It's good to help, you know, it's good to feed other people, give people treats, you know, smile, be sweet, tell stories, you know. Just be more human and interact more.